Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. Today I'm going to show you how to descale the Keurig K-Slim coffee maker with distilled white vinegar. I just did a video on descaling it with the Keurig solution. I really do like the Keurig solution. It's $6 though, and you may not have access to it. So you are allowed to descale with white vinegar. It just takes a little bit longer, and I'm going to show you how. It's definitely a lot cheaper. So I can buy this big jug of white vinegar for $1.50 at Walmart, and it's 64 fluid ounces, and I can get about 4 or 5 descalings out of this big jug. So unfortunately, the instructions that come with your brewer are not the best, and they don't show you there's a descaling mode your coffee maker goes into. So if you go to the Keurig website, they've got a more detailed manual on this that they don't ship with it. And here's the instructions. If you want to pause the video, you can read the instructions. I'm going to go through them step by step according to the instructions here. So the main thing is your descale light on. If your descale light is on when you turn the coffee maker on, you can still brew coffees, but what the machine is telling you that it's not working up to its optimal performance. This thing has a heater on the inside and a tank, and that water if you have hard water, you can start to get hard water buildup on the heater, and the heating element's not working as good as it should. So one of the things you may see is the coffee maker may not be brewing correctly. Your coffee may not taste as good as it used to, and it may not be as hot. Those are all signs it's time to descale, and of course if your descale light comes on. You should be descaling this every 3 to 6 months, depending on how hard your water is. So you don't necessarily want to wait for the descale light to come on, because by that time you may have a bunch of buildup on there, so it's good to stay up on top of it. So before we begin, we're going to make sure we don't have any K-cup in here. This is going to remain open or empty for the entire process, but we do want this needle basket in there. We just don't want to put any K-cup in. Give yourself about 45 minutes to an hour when you use the vinegar. When you use the descaling solution, it's a little bit quicker. I can do it in about 20 to 30 minutes. You need a container that's going to hold about a little over 2 cups or 12 ounces of water. So we're going to start back here in the water reservoir. Now, this machine does not come with, this is a carbon water filter. This is an aftermarket that I bought for this machine. We're going to remove it and leave it out for the entire process. So whatever water you have in your reservoir, now we're going to go dump it out, and we start with an empty reservoir to begin with. So next, we need 14 ounces of this vinegar. Now, this vinegar does kind of stink. It has kind of a strong odor to it. So we need 14 ounces, which is roughly 2 cups. So again, water reservoir is empty. We're going to take the 14 ounces. This is pure vinegar now. We're going to pour it in. So if you don't have a measuring cup, it comes up to right about there. So I took the same measuring cup. I filled, now it has just fresh water. So we're going to dump 14 ounces of fresh water in. This is all we're going to add. This gives us a 1-to-1 ratio. We've got one container of water and 1 container of vinegar. That's about where it ends up at. Make sure the machine is plugged in. It's going to stay plugged in for the entire process. So now, it's kind of weird what you got to do, but we're going to go into a descaling mode. And the first thing you're going to do is turn it off. I mean, it's kind of contrary to what you would think. So with power off, and make sure none of these lights are lit up. With power off, you're going to hold the 8 and the 12 ounce together for 3 seconds. What's going to happen is the descale light's going to come on and the K light's going to come on. Okay. The descale light's on. The K button's flashing. This tells us we're in descale mode. That's kind of a special feature of this machine, and it kind of uses the vinegar through there to kind of help descale it. So now I've got my container. I've got my vinegar in. Now it says press the K button. And again, it's going to run about 12 ounces of that vinegar through here. And it does kind of stink a little bit. Again, you can see I didn't use very much of that vinegar at all. So be careful. This water is going to come out really hot. And when it's done, we're going to throw the water that's in there away, and we're going to press that K button again. So it takes about a minute and 30 seconds to run the 12 ounces through here. And we've got to keep doing this until we get down to the add water light. Okay, so it ran the first thing through. I see now this was solid when it was brewing. Now it's flashing again. So I'm going to go dump that out. I've got it dumped out. Now I press the K button again. It's going to do that whole process again. It's going to do that one more time. At the end of this one, the water is going to be right about here, but it's not going to be enough to do another cycle. So the add water light is going to come on. Okay, so at the end of that second one, my add water light's on. Don't touch anything. Don't turn the power on. Don't lift the handle. Leave it exactly how it is. We're going to come now. We're going to go to this reservoir. So we're going to lift the reservoir up. We've got some vinegar and water in here still. We're going to go throw that out. And we're going to wash this out with soap and water and fill it up with fresh water to the max line. Okay, so it's important to scrub that out because you don't want any of that vinegar in there after you dump this out. And it's a good idea just to kind of clean your water reservoir. So now I've got fresh water filled up to the max line. I reinstalled the reservoir. The add water light went away. I'm still in descale mode. And now my big K button's flashing. I've got my container. Now it's going to do fresh water rinses of about 12 ounces. So we're going to press the big K button. Again, that water is really hot. Now it's going to rinse the vinegar out. Okay, so I got to keep repeating this process. I'm going to go throw this away. I still got a lot more water to go. The K button's flashing. I empty my container and press the K button again. I'm still in descale mode. I still haven't turned it on. I haven't done anything. Okay, so the descale light went out. And that's because my water reservoir now is to the point where it needs to add water. Now I automatically came out of descaling mode. So I'm going to go empty that. Now here's where with the Keurig solution you could be done. I have found with the vinegar, you need to do some more rinsing. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. So take your reservoir, fill your water reservoir up with water. You don't need to throw that out because that's just fresh water. So just fill it up to the max line with water. Okay, so I've got my water reservoir filled up again. Again, your descale light should have went out. If it didn't go out, unplug the machine for 3 minutes and then plug it back in. So now I'm going to turn the machine on. My add water light goes away. If your descale light is still on, that means you still have, so do a few fresh water rinses. If it still remains on, I would probably then try the Keurig solution or do one more round of white vinegar. So with the coffee maker on, I'm going to lift the handle again, make sure that's empty. I like to do what these are just 12 ounce rinses. So I press the 12 and the K. I'm going to do about 3 or 4 of these 12 ounce rinses just to kind of make sure the vinegar is completely out. If you got any questions on how I descaled this with white vinegar, leave them in the comments down below. I'll try to answer them as best I can. I'm going to do several other videos on this, how to make coffee, a detailed review, how to clean the needles. This is a really popular Keurig machine. I'm also going to do another video today on how to use a reusable K-cup to use your own coffee grounds. Check out my YouTube channel where I do lots of reviews on different Keurig machines. I'll also be comparing this Keurig machine to other ones that I've got. Thanks everybody for your support. If you could, please like and subscribe.